Bill Thompson for toilet paper watch at South Bank. There we go. This is what it's come to. Greg Hunt and Professor Murphy are scheduled to be on Insiders this morning. If I get a chance to speak with them going in or coming out, I'll see if there's any government plans to introduce legislation to ban more than 100 people being in the toilet paper aisle at the supermarkets in the very near future. May I speak with you for just a moment? Bill Thompson is my name. I've been doing a thing called Outside Insiders for the last 6 years. I come down on a Sunday morning. I'm happy to let you do your thing, but I did want to ask a question when you're finished.
Of course, yeah, okay. That's fine. Do they normally just come out here? We weren't sure where to wait.
It depends on their transport. Sometimes they go out through the back door, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they go out through the back door, is there a way of getting them there, or is it...
usually they're in a car if they do that, so I don't know what's going to happen today.
Sure.
Yeah. The irony for me, listening to people in the studio bang on about climate change and how important it is to use public transport, there's a tram stop right there, but the Greens and the Labor politicians arrive by chauffeur-driven limo.
Well, I think the Chief Medical Officer is the best to advise on that.
We are both well. Both of us were in contact with Minister Dutton 72 hours before he became symptomatic. More than 48 hours. The risk of him being infectious at that time is extremely unlikely. I'd be very confident that we haven't contracted coronavirus from Mr. Dutton.
And I think the important thing is that Queensland Health independently established the date in line with the national rules. I think the very important thing is that as a country, that our leaders follow the same rules as everybody else, neither more nor less. And I think that is a key message. We're all in this together. And today's message is about helping to stop the spread. And we help to stop the spread in two ways. One, with our good hygiene and washing the hands, coughing into your elbow or into a tissue, all of those sensible things. But secondly, also following the national advice on testing. If you've been overseas or if you've been in contact, where contact is defined as being in contact with somebody who has been diagnosed in the 24 hours before they first develop symptoms, and you have your own symptoms, that's when you should seek a test.
Do you admit that the advice about the 24-hour period or what people should do when they should get tested has been confusing? Even though you are trying to have a national approach, people are getting information from different places.
Well, I would urge everybody, particularly the media, to take their advice from the Chief Medical Officer and the State and Territory Chief Medical Officers, which the National Cabinet established as the principal source of medical advice on Friday.
What about the World Health Organization? They're giving different advice to
No, there's no consistency, no inconsistency here between their view and the view of the Chief Medical Officer.
The hazmat cleaning outside the government offices yesterday, why did that need to happen?
I think that was a matter for the centre management, and it certainly hasn't been instructed by the Chief Medical Officer.
Is it your responsibility to comment on being isolated given
well, again, we're following the contact definition of Queensland Health. Queensland Health has made the assessment in relation to Minister Dutton, and the Deputy Chief Medical Officer has also independently conducted a tracing and assessment program and came up with the same assessment as Queensland Health. So the important thing here is actually for us to follow the medical advice. It would be irresponsible for us not to follow the medical advice, and I think that's our message. We're all in this together, and the same rules and standards apply to us. The idea that we would somehow have special treatment would be very un-Australian.
Just on the prospect of Australia or certain cities, certain states going into sort of a proper isolation in the future. what's the potential for that?
Look, there's always a potential. We have a very clear structure for responding. If community transmission became widespread in a part of the country, more social distancing measures will be needed. And we will review them as we do on a daily basis and make proportionate decisions on the case numbers and their distribution at that time.
I'll just finish because we do have to go to National Security Committee. But our approach has been step by step, but well ahead of the curve. So the decision on mass gatherings, which was advised by the Australian Health Protection Principal Committee and adopted by the National Cabinet of the Prime Minister and all of the Chief Ministers, was actually bringing forward, as Professor Murphy has said only this morning, bringing forward a decision which might well have been taken in coming weeks, and what they've done out of an abundance of caution is to do it at a much earlier stage in the number of cases compared with other countries. And so what they've done again is help delay, help slow, help contain, and continue to be at the global forefront. Well, thank you very much.
Just one last quickie, I'll walk with you. As a shopper, would it be appropriate to consider reintroducing for a short period reusable single-use plastic bags at shopping centres to reduce the risk of possible infection from grubby old fabric bags and to speed up the checkout process?
Look, I'll leave that to the supermarkets that are
well, what about the health officer? Do you think that that single-use plastic bags are a lesser risk than grubby old fabric bags?
I think, respectfully,
okay.
I'll let them make their considered.
Look, I think it's a reasonable question.
The Minister has to get now.
Yeah. Okay. Now carry on. Bill Thompson for Outside Insiders. I tried to ask the question. Well, in fact, I did ask the question. I think it's a reasonable question, and we'll see if anything comes of it. Bill Thompson for Outside Insider. My first sight of the charcoal-coloured Z-car fleet. It's I hear the auto stop function working on the car. I drive a new Belgian-made Commodore, I believe it is, and it's got the auto stop function, which I find enormously frustrating and annoying in city traffic, because you never know when you're going to need an instantaneous start to avoid oncoming traffic, and sometimes the instantaneous start or takeoff is not available because the engine is bloody stopped, so I switch off my auto stop function. Bill Thompson for Outside Insiders.